All right, let's dive into something I think is pretty incredible: AI animation. We'll really break down the whole process and show you how anyone, and yeah, I really do mean anyone, can start telling their own animated stories. So let me ask you a quick question. When you think about animation, what comes to mind? Is it these giant studios, right? Hundreds of artists, millions and millions of dollars in budget? For the longest time, that was just the reality of it. It took a ton of technical skill, super expensive software, and just so much time. Well, that's not the case anymore. AI has totally changed the game. It's basically democratized this entire art form, taking the power from those big studios and putting it right back into your hands. You literally have a virtual animation studio sitting on your computer right now. Okay, so let's get into it. The whole process might look really complex from the outside, but you can actually break it down into a pretty simple recipe. We're going to walk through what's called the AI animation pipeline. Think of it as your step-by-step guide from a totally blank page to a finished film. So here's the roadmap for our little journey. It really comes down to four main phases. First up is pre-production. That's where you'll figure out your script and storyboard. Next is production, where we use AI to actually generate our characters and scenes. Third, we get to the really fun part, animation, bringing it all to life. And finally, post-production, where we pull it all together with editing, sound, and a little bit of polish. Now, to make sure this all makes sense and doesn't just feel like theory, we're actually going to build a little animation together, right here and now. Let's create a very story we'll call the Lonely Cloud. You know, every single animation, no matter how big or epic, it all starts with a simple idea, usually just written down in a script. For our first scene, the instruction is just this: a small cloud floats alone in a blue sky. That's it. That's our entire starting point. And this is where we translate that simple sentence into a language the AI can actually understand. This is called a text prompt. And just look at the detail here. We're specifying the style, 3D cartoon, Pixar animation style. We're giving the character feelings, sad expression, and we're setting the whole mood. The more specific you can be here, the better your results are going to be. This step has a name. It's called asset generation. This is where tools like Midjourney or DALL-E 3 take that detailed prompt we just wrote and, well, generate the image for our scene. It's that moment where your words are literally turned into a piece of visual art. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so now you've got this beautiful static image. How do you actually make it move? Well, you've got two main options. For your first project, I would strongly recommend the image to video method on the left. You create that perfect image first, and then you upload it to a tool like Runway or Pika to add motion. It just gives you so much more control when you're starting out. And listen, whatever you do, please do not forget your audio. Sound is, I'm not kidding, at least 50% of the emotional impact of your film. And the cool thing is, there are amazing AI tools for this too. 11 Labs can generate these incredibly realistic voiceovers, and a tool like SoundDraw can create the perfect royalty-free music to match whatever mood you're going for.
All right, so you get the process now, right? The creative workflow is clear. So let's talk about the actual tools you'll need to make all this happen. And the great news is that there are fantastic options out there, whether you have $0 to spend or you're willing to invest a little bit.
This chart pretty much lays it all out for you. The beginner stack on the left is amazing. You can get incredible results for less than $50, mostly by using the really generous free tiers from tools like Pika Labs and 11 Labs. Now, if you're ready to level up, the professional stack on the right uses some industry favorites like Midjourney and Runway that'll give you an extra layer of quality and control. So you've got the recipe, you've picked out your tools, but before you run off and start making stuff, let's just cover a few really important tips and common mistakes. This advice, I promise, is going to save you hours of frustration and help make sure your first project is a huge success. These are probably the four biggest issues that beginners run into. First, your characters look different from shot to shot. The fix for this is to use the same seed number in your prompts. Just think of it like a unique ID that keeps the style consistent. Second, you get jerky animation. The solution is often just to keep the movement simple and use quicker cuts. Third is mismatched emotion between the voiceover and the visuals. And last, file chaos. Do yourself a huge favor. Create a structured folder system from the very beginning. Trust me on this. Okay, time for a little dose of reality. How long is this actually going to take? For a 1 or 2 minute animation, you should probably budget somewhere between 16 and 29 hours for your very first project. Now, yeah, that's a real commitment. But the most important thing to know is that this time is going to shrink, like dramatically, with every new project you do. So to wrap things up, here are just a few final pro tips to keep in mind. Start small.
Aim for just a 60-second video at first. Test your entire workflow early on with maybe a 15-second clip, just to make sure everything works. And probably the most important thing, learn to iterate. Your first version is not going to be perfect, and that is totally okay. The goal of your first project isn't perfection, it's just finishing it.
And that's really it. We've gone from a simple idea all the way through a full production pipeline. You have the recipe, you know the tools to use, and you have a roadmap for what to avoid. The only real question left is, what story are you going to tell first?